We have our first guest today on the podcast. Stacey, do you want to say who it is?
Drum roll, please. We have my husband, also a business partner, on the podcast today.
He's going to be spilling all the tea.
He's got a lot to spill. It's a lot.
He does. Maybe we won't invite him on the podcast.
Never mind, guys. Never mind. Renege on the podcast. Welcome to the Chronicles of Caffeine and Ambition, hosted by the Cinder Sisters. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Megan. And what we are here to do on our podcast is tell you about business, life, families. Essentially, everything that we do, we want to share with you because we have a lot of self-confidence. We've learned a lot of self-confidence over the years.
We sure have.
And we want to share that with you. We want to show you how.
Let's do this.
Today we welcome a special guest to the podcast. And I've never said such nice words to him before.
Sorry, that's so good. I can't look at him with a straight face.
I sit here humbled.
We welcome Chris to our podcast. He's our business partner, Stacey's real life partner.
Yep.
My brother-in-law. He takes a lot of crap from us.
Whoa, don't make it like it's all one-sided.
What were you just singing, Chris?
I'm sad already.
Nobody knows my
The trouble
sorrow.
I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow.
So Chris joined us. Stacey and I have been working together since, well, not technically since we were 16, but it's been a long time.
Essentially, yes. So it's been, a long time.
It's been a long time. And we've lived together for multiple decades that nobody wants to talk about.
They've created their own language that only they understand. Just so we're clear.
It's true. No, not technically. The kids understand it.
A couple of our kids understand it, not all of them.
Okay, fair enough. We did mention on a previous podcast, so we asked Chris to join us because we were burnt out. Couldn't handle it anymore. So we knew that we needed input, and Chris came as the savior, as the corporate guru, as the guy that was going to fix everything.
That's right.
And we said,
please come. And then he showed up and we said, don't touch anything.
Don't touch that.
No, not that.
What are you doing? Not like that.
Really, it was like, what are your ideas? So I gave them all my ideas. Here are my suggestions. They went, thanks. And then that was it for 2 years. And now we're starting to do some of them. I think the best news I got last week was we heard this other person say exactly what you did, and now we believe you. So we're going to go through.
Technically, I think it was yesterday. It was this week, and I said, hey, you'll be happy. We're listening to I don't remember what it was, a masterclass, I think. I was like, you'll never guess what we're listening to. The girl that says the same things that you said 2 years ago. Maybe we'll do it now.
Yeah. So anyways, that sums up where I sit in the hierarchy really well. But I'm behind the lady doing the masterclass on YouTube. All right.
I'm very appreciative that my husband is a patient man. Real patient.
Real patient. 2.5 years patient.
Unless I'm driving.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Then
That's a good point.
100%
Then we just
not.
keep our heads down.
Yeah.
I'm better than I used to be.
Chris is our chauffeur as well.
He is.
Stacey and I get tickets. Like we have big girl businesses and we do our work in the car and we have a chauffeur that drives us around.
It's true.
Happens to be a partner.
We need to get him though. That glass mirror thing that the chauffeurs have in the front, and you and I sit in the back, and then we can't hear him complain.
It'd be a lot
traffic.
better if you actually sat in the back with me and he drove in the front. So welcome, Chris, to the podcast.
Yeah. So I don't know that I need to be here. You've pretty much summed up my life.
I do want it from your perspective. I'm sorry. So when we asked you weren't here. I didn't know you well, I don't think. But so when we were having these phone conversations, and Stacey and I were like super burnt out. We were like, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue this? We can't do this on our own, all that kind of stuff. And then you would hear it, I'm sure, at home. You would hear from Stacey. So then what went through your head? Because you had this big corporate job, this good job, for better, for worse, that job. I'm sure there were bad times, but you had this job that was serious. And then you were like, sure, I'll join your company.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. It was just post-COVID, or the business Cinders was doing well. People had been waiting several years to get married, and all of a sudden things were taking off. I was in a role at work that I enjoyed. I really enjoyed doing, but just we had just finished an extremely difficult upgrade and product release, and it was I think I was ready for a change. And this opportunity came up just by chance by saying, man, I should just come work with you guys and partner in. And I believe Stacey took out her phone texted Megan. Megan went, sure. And within 11 seconds, I went from being corporate to heading towards a small, medium business that was starting to grow and expand. And I had a background in that. So I think it was a good fit overall. And it's been an adjustment for sure, but that's how we got where we got.
I'll tell you, it's an adjustment for us to listen to other people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know when that actually happens. So, and in fairness, I worked at a really neat company called Lee Valley Tools, and one of my bosses there, who I love to death, she had said, when you go into a new role, your job isn't to change anything, it's to learn and to listen. And I think for the first 3-4 months, I did a lot of that. Just, it's an industry that I hadn't been in bridal, not a lot of guys in bridal historically. Maybe that's changing, but coming from a retail world, I had some understanding, but not the sense from the female perspective, and specifically to such an important day for women. So I had a lot to learn. Still am learning, actually. It's only been, 3 years almost. So it was definitely an adjustment. And as I started to implement or want to implement some changes, obviously when you have a homegrown business that, you guys have been doing for a long time, it's your baby. And I understood that, which is part of the reason I was able to be patient. I think maybe in other cases I might not have been, but I understood, how close it was to your hearts. And it took time for the trust to go both ways, I guess. And that's where we're at now.
Now we're essentially like, here's the baby, take it. Here's all the diapers that go with it. Good luck. We got to go.
Not quite, but
we're close.
They're doing it. So yeah, they're letting go of a lot of different things for sure, which is allowing me to do some stuff that I hadn't been able to do. But, it's collaborative. It's a group effort. And, we have a really strong team right now that we love. So I think it's easier to make some of these changes because there's just trust with everyone involved.
That's a good point. It comes down to trust. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And coming into any role, any big change is a lot about trust. So that's a really good point. Getting to know everybody, getting to know us. You and Stacey were pretty new, honestly, in the grand scheme of things.
Couple of years. I mean, I think COVID fast tracks that quite a bit when you're all of a sudden go from let's move in together to, every single day for a year and a half, with 5 kids. So it was, we knew if we could go through that, we could do anything.
That's a good point. And by anything, he also means being in a building with all women. He is the only man in this building.
15 women and 1 man. Oh, no, that's not true. Gav's here now.
Oh, yes, that's true. One of our oldest kids is now here working with us.
I grew up raised by women, and I don't know about most guys, but I get to work with 15 women. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
They're all pretty good at razzing, though, I would have to say. Everybody's good for taking a joke and playing a joke. So everybody's got a good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. It helps, for sure.
Definitely.
How is it now? We're almost 3 years in. How is it to try and separate home life and work life?
I think we've improved on that. We still talk about work when we're at home, but
a lot,
but more about where we're going, not necessarily about the problems of the day. It's more about, what do you think about if we do this, or what if we try this, or, I know that Meg and Stacey text a lot in the evenings too. So we're often checking in with each other, and, the business is a big, important part of our lives. So it does come home. But I don't mind it. If I was working somewhere else, the first thing I do is ask about her day anyway. So we're going to be talking about work one way or another. It's just easier because we both have an idea of what's going on.
No, that's a good point, because it's like shared goals, and you're supposed to share dreams and goals with your partner anyways. So It's shared dreams and goals personally, but also wrapped up in business. So where's the business going? What are our goals for the business? Those kinds of questions.
Yeah.
And while we do work together, we work in different spaces in the building. We do see each other throughout the day. But honestly, it's usually for meetings or pop-ins, or, one of us just is tired of looking at a screen. So we come to say hello. So we don't actually work that closely together, more by email, text, more of an understanding. The stuff that I'm working on isn't the stuff that Stacey's necessarily working on. A lot of collaboration, though, for some of the bigger picture stuff.
Well, and it was obviously going well enough that we decided the 3 of us were going to be joint partners in 2 other corporations. So I guess we can't say that anything's going badly as much as I'll speak for myself. It was difficult. You already said that. Getting into the business is difficult. Running the business can be difficult. Letting people do things for you in the business can be extremely difficult. I have a control issue. You have something to say, Stacey?
No. Nope.
She seems scared right now.
So it was definitely hard to let some things go. But I do think that I think it's an incredible thing that we are 3 years in and we're still doing it. We laugh a whole lot more. We went on a trip together and laughed a lot and have created multiple businesses after the fact together as well.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows I love these two very much. And, you know, for your family, you would do anything. And I think maybe we all realize we'd do anything for each other. And that doesn't happen overnight. So that, you know, sort of respect and trust comes over time, and we're there. So, yeah, I'm excited for the next 10 years to see what happens with the various businesses that we're going to be working in.
I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your favorite memory from the past 3 years, business-wise?
Yeah.
Last week when you said you were letting go.
That actually was a neat moment. It was just everyone likes to hear that their contributions are valued and or believed in. So, you know, that was good. But honestly, some of my favorite moments have been more about the team when we implemented tips, when we, you know, getting to give out the first round of tips and seeing how excited the team was. You know, that's a game changer for some people. And so I really enjoyed that. I don't know. I enjoy coming to work. I like it all. I don't know if there's any one big specific thing. You know, certainly the Peterborough store opening was big. That was a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of conversations, and a lot of visits to various buildings. So I'm pretty proud of that moment as well. But yeah, not sure. What about you guys? Yeah, not so easy when you're on the other end.
No,
Eh?
you know, I was just thinking what like the time off, actually taking your Saturdays off. That the last 3 years, I think that's like a first.
I think I'd agree with that. So taking a trip, which we technically took together, so we don't really take any time apart. So that speaks to how well we get along.
But we took a trip, like we left the building for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That has never happened.
No,
ever.
And I do think that these things are possible. The less Saturday working, like not working 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And taking an actual vacation together, I do attribute these things to Chris.
Agree. Yeah.
And I'd like to add that, you know, coming from the corporate world, you know, you took 2 weeks off, maybe a week. Here and there, you often work more, even when you were on vacation. So that same trip they're talking about, they gave me the opportunity to travel with my son, and I was able to go for 4 weeks, something I have never been able to do. I had never been overseas. So thanks to both of them, I was able to go and really see Europe. I got to see Spain, got to see France, and it was an incredible trip. So thank you guys for that, because I've never had that opportunity before.
I do have to add that one of my core memories now will always be going around that hairpin turn a little too fast and knowing from the way that Chris grabbed the side of the car that I was probably going a little too fast for his heart.
We are going to have an entire episode with Chris talking about our trip in France. Because if you've ever been to Europe, we had 2 children, an adult, and then 2 other adults in the front of the car. And you know how small the cars are. So that was just a portion of our trip and the chaos that happened. So I'm not even going to delve into how insane it was. But that's another episode we're going to have with Chris.
I appreciate that he was able to laugh after the fact.
After the fact.
After, I will say in the moment, being on the passenger side and looking at the 900-foot drop clearly to the bottom with roughly 3 inches of gravel between us and that fall, that was a little sketchy for me. I will admit that.
There's no guardrails. Anybody,
no
if you
guardrails.
haven't been there, there's no guardrails at all. It's like
hairpin turns
Yep.
down a mountain with
that's
no
it.
guardrails.
None.
There
Good
were
luck.
some trees.
There was trees. Yeah, they probably would have
At the bottom of the 900 feet. So they may have broken part of the fall. Anyways, that was fun. I got better as the trip went on.
It's funny because I readily admit I have a control issue, right? And we talked about trust needed, like we need the trust. Some of us have trust issues. That's also me. And we joke that you're our chauffeur. But all of these combined in that trip so that I didn't let you drive. I drove that whole trip as a control problem.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also wasn't allowed to drive, I don't think. I wasn't under the insurance.
Oh,
and,
right.
Yeah, the rental car, yeah.
Still don't think I was being allowed to drive. Anyways, it was 7 days of a lot of driving, so it's okay. It was nice to have a break because I ended up driving a whole lot in France and Spain afterwards, so the break was good.
It was a lot of fun. But I mean, from laughing on that trip, I appreciate very much that that is mostly how we look at day to day. There are some bad times, there are some very hard times. There's some hard decisions to make, but mostly we try to get through with humor.
I think that's a heck of a lot easier than getting frustrated about the subject, or because I don't think that solves anything. Because realistically, whatever the issue is, generally can be solved. And the more you get yourself upset about it, the worse it's going to be. And then we're going to fight. And then that's a problem because all of us have thick skulls and a temper. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's be clear. There are 3 individuals on this podcast who all have tempers.
Yes.
In different degrees. I'm very even keeled until
he's not.
And then I'm not so good. But maybe these 2 are a little bit more heated than I am. But it's been pretty good. We haven't had any like severe major blow-ups. We've had some, we've had to walk away and take some time for, to breathe and, get back. And then we laugh about it afterwards. We have some, definitely a lot of laughter.
Learning to communicate too is a big thing.
None of us do that well.
I do remember the day that I had to put my foot down and say, you guys aren't allowed to fight at work anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. We don't anymore.
You don't anymore?
No, we don't
Doing
anymore.
really well.
Yeah.
Well, that one was Stacy's fault.
I see another fight coming after this podcast.
That's why I wear protection here. I have throat protection at all times.
Okay, can you compare for me, Chris? How many years did you do in corporate?
I worked for larger retail companies for over 21, 22 years, and pretty good sized medium company for about 4 or 5 years. Did a bit of consulting in there as well. So for most of my career, I've been in large retail business, Canadian-wide retail chains.
How does it compare to small? Like, we're technically classified small medium, but 16 employees. We're a fairly small, close-knit family type business.
The comparatives are, they were all family-run businesses, and they just had more zeros at the end of the things we were dealing with. A lot of the problems were the same as far as, technology, implementation, time, resources. So that hasn't really changed. It's similar. The difference is we can decide and pick and choose, and I have much more input than I did at the bigger companies. While I had input in areas, here I have input in the overall direction. So that's a huge difference for me, but we're trying to implement some of the things. Not all things corporate are bad, like procedures and policy and stuff like that. It just makes it easier for everyone to make a decision when you have some of those things in place, as opposed to, every time it happens, how do we do this? How do we do that? And as we were growing, it kind of felt like there was a need for some of these changes. And we haven't done a ton, but we have put some things in that have made it a bit easier for sure. HR, dealing with people, that's something that I've been doing most of my career and I've always enjoyed. So I still like that. That's always the same, whether you're bigger or small, you deal with the good, bad, and the ugly. So, but this team, like I said, is really solid. I've been very fortunate in my career that almost all of my teams have been like that. It takes a little while to get the team that you're hoping for, but if you work hard and they work hard, and it really matches well. And so I've been pretty lucky. So then I feel lucky again.
Do you feel like Stacy and I joke less about your corporate background now than we used to? Not
at all. No, I would say it's even more. But what's funny now is they're buying into it, so they do some of it. They're just changing their names. So, if I say we need to accordion, or not necessarily even accordion, or if I say a KPI, key performance indicator, they'll be like, what's our goal? And which is good. Like, it's just there. It's funny. So yes, they make just as much fun of me now, but they listen more.
Never gonna conform.
The man can't hold me down. I do want to say, bear with me here, I feel like we make less fun of you in the sense that while you were talking, I was picturing the scene from Peanuts where the adults talk and all they hear is but I understood everything you were saying, and I didn't say that over top of you.
No, it's understand that a lot of our dynamics are also done through memes. They're also done by facial expression. Because I'll be in the other office on a video Zoom call, and we were working with a consultant from, Business Development Canada, and we were talking, and in the first couple of minutes, him and I are getting along just great. And I can see the faces, and I'm texting them with my hands going, "Stop making fun of me. I know you are." So... No, it's a lot better. It's taken with a grain of salt. Like, I understand it. It's all fun. Go corporate.
It's like rival football teams.
It's true.
Okay, one of my favorite stories. There's two favorite stories. Tell me how you met our mom.
Karen. Sorry, mother-in-law. We love you. So the very first time I came into the building at Cinders, and Stacy and I had only been dating maybe a month or two. It hadn't been long. And I thought I would be nice and I would bring the team some coffee, which I did. So I had a bunch of coffees and I came in and everyone was super happy and I dropped them off. And then I had my own coffee and they invited me in to look around, and I put my coffee down on the table, to which I hear this demonic voice from the side go, "Get that off that table now." And I'm not joking, that was the voice that came out, and I'm like panicked, look over and they're like, "That's Stacy's mom." I'm like, okay. Well, it turns out you don't put coffee down on cutting pads.
If you know a seamstress or anybody who sews, those green Olfa cutting mats cannot take any heat. They warp. And they're very expensive. And
our mom's been sewing and doing all that kind of stuff for, I don't even know how long, 60 years,
forever.
7 years, forever, since she was born.
Yeah.
So she's a little bit protective of her Olfa mats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Chris mistakenly, because he didn't know, put the coffee down on the mat. Now, Meg and I laughed a little bit because that's funny shit right there.
We've heard that voice all our lives.
All our lives.
So
Are you using my scissors to cut paper? Like, crazy.
I mean, two things went through my head. Was one, oh, wow, I should run. That was one. The second one, I was like, a simple, "Could you please not put that on the mat because it'll warp," also would have worked. But now knowing Stacy and Meg really well, apple tree, not far.
I feel like if you're gonna say that, then you were 1-2 months in your relationship with Stacey. She hadn't shown her true colors by that point. Then, if mom was your first indicator, second indicator, me texting you the Liam Neeson meme that says "Good luck."
Good luck. They also said, "Tag, you're it, no give backs." So what do they say? There were signs. There were signs.
We tried to warn you.
Don't ever talk about corporate, for the amount of razzing that I get at this shop from this man is absurd. I'm like a peach.
I'm like a little delicate bruised peach.
What was it, that book? The big, massive peach that was...
James and the Giant Peach?
Yeah.
You're the giant peach.
Was it
giant
with
peach.
a worm in it?
You had, like, families living in there.
I thought there was a house in it. Didn't the peach have a house in it?
Yes.
It's been a long time since I read that. Yes?
She doesn't just have a house. She has like 7 personalities living in that house.
That's true. It needs to be a big peach. I don't disagree.
The roulette wheel gets spun every morning.
Sure does.
Yep.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And there was a second story that you were talking about. It'll come back to her.
Okay.
This is also often in the day where we walk in and I don't know why I came in here. I'm not sure what I was going to say.
Do it all the time.
Anyways, I'll be back.
I lost both my wallets today.
So if anyone listens to this podcast and you find a wallet, let us know.
Let us know. It's probably Meg's.
At least I still know where my phone is. No, my second story was when Stacey and I were working late one night and you came in to hang out with us because Stacey was working late, so you were coming to say hi. And it was a problem. We were having a problem. That's why we were here so late. And then Stacey and I had a full conversation in our own language under our breath.
Yes.
The look on your face was just
priceless.
Yeah,
I wish I'd taped that.
So I had mentioned that they have their own language. I will not lie. This is what it sounded like. I was sitting this close to them. They turned to each other and went, "Oh no." And the other one, just like that, starts to laugh. And I'm looking in disbelief because not a single word was spoken. And I do not know how they understood each other, let alone get that it was a joke of some sort. That one was funny. Yes,
That was really funny. It still
Yeah.
happens.
it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's getting better at the Laverne mumble, we call it.
Yeah, because it wasn't that long after that your dad came in and said something to Meg using the same language. And Meg responded with like she knew what was going on. And again, I'm just gonna walk away now.
And you're stuck with us.
Yep.
Happily.
Yep.
It's true.
What are the next goals?
Who are you asking?
Everyone.
Everyone, there's lots of goals. We have business goals.
Yeah.
You know, we want to make this building more efficient. Yeah, we want to improve our business, our model. We're adapting. Business is changing. The bridal business is changing. So we're working on that. And that's actually been fun. I enjoy those sorts of conversations when we're adapting. It's nice that we're the size that we are, that we can adapt fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. So that started. So I don't know, goals, 5 years. We definitely want to have another location, a third location. We definitely want our digital marketing company, Smart Radish Digital. We'd like that to be well underway. That'll be 4 or 5 years that it'll been going. We want to have a lot of great partners that we're working with and helping a lot of other small and medium businesses grow like we have. So that's something that I'm excited about over the next 5 years. Want to travel on the personal side. I want to travel a lot. So would love to maybe retire one day in Portugal, Europe. And so start heading over there a little more frequently than we have.
Stace?
All of the above.
And?
A pony.
And a pony.
Sounds funny, but it's not actually a joke.
No, it's not a
No.
joke. Legit. I'm getting at some point. I will be that crazy horse person. Yeah. Except I'll have a horse in Europe somewhere.
And
And a castle. Because I've only been sending Meg castles in France for 3 years.
I was going to say 2, yeah.
2 years?
2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been years.
It's legit. Yeah. Like, do you see this one for sale? This one's all right. We could all live in this one. Think we could get mom and dad to go to Europe? We might be able to. We can run everything from this one. I'm surprised she hasn't blocked me yet.
Oh, one of the last ones you sent, I even responded with, "Oh wow, look at the actual information they gave you on this one. Like that was logical information. If we're gonna move there, we need to know that."
That's true. Yes. Yes.
It was very helpful.
Yeah.
And Meg, what are your goals?
Oh, to survive small children, literally. To
She's only saying that today because it was a hell of a morning this
it
morning.
was a hell of a morning.
Yeah.
To be more appreciative of the people that take care of me. That's both of you.
You're welcome. She's never said that in person either, so I'm having a little bit of a tear right
It's on record. It's out there for the world to hear. Seriously, I would not survive.
That's true.
Still won't give us a hug though. That's not true.
I'm working on physical contact.
Once a month.
Don't know. This was supposed to be a grilling podcast about like interview Chris and grill Chris, and I think I've just like aired all of my control problems. I have trust issues. Don't touch me.
Another day in the office.
That's right, exactly.
This sums it up.
Working with me sounds like a treat.
It is a treat. It's wonderful. Enjoy it very much hiding in my corner. Bear traps around me just in case on the floor.
I know in my world in corporate, I know hundreds, if not thousands of people who would change places and want to work with you guys. So yeah, no.
It's because the insanity's fun.
Chaos.
Yeah. That's how we live.
Can either of you guess how many times I have wanted to say corporate?
At least
during this
30. At least
episode?
30 to 40.
Yeah.
Kept them all in my head. I'm very proud of myself. I appreciate it, Christopher.
Same.
Thanks.
Here's to however many longer years ahead and multiple businesses and traveling. And on one of the trips, I might let you drive.
I'll believe
In
that
Scotland.
when it happens.
In Scotland,
In
on the
Scotland.
opposite side of the road.
Exactly.
Not the easy one.
Not the easy one.
It's the one I
No.
don't want to do.
We are doing that. I found a house that I would like to buy in Edinburgh. So we often find houses in places we want to buy. But as we all know, it's not always feasible. But those are some of our goals. Houses in different countries, rentals. We can live there. We can stay there. Our friends can be there. We can rent them out. So I should add that to our goals, not just going to those places, but somehow
Actually spending
investing.
time there.
Well,
Give
I
me
think-
some culture.
yeah, investing in the community and the people there, just like we've done here. So we'd like to do that elsewhere.
Great segue. That's what we're about, building community.
Yep, agree.
Here, different countries, wherever.
Wherever.
Follow us, because I think you should.
Just do it before she gets angry, please.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly.